E aí galerinha, é o Lobo na área, trazendo pra vocês aí o terceiro episódio da nossa série da vez o Vampiro de vocês no PS5. Vamos dar continuidade aqui, tá em português.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Valeu pela sua atenção aí, doutor. Só não me encosta, valeu? E tem vários doutores aqui, cara. Vamos falar com esse enfermeiro aqui?
What can I do for you, doctor?
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Não nada não. Só não reconheci a senhora.
Good evening, sir.
Boa noite, filho. Tudo bem? Tem uma moça ali, ó. Vou falar com o rapaz aqui primeiro.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'll let you get some rest then.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Tudo bem. Tem um bilhetinho ali. Vamos falar com essa moça aqui, ver se ela sabe alguma coisa dele.
Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Olha ela.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Eita, meu irmão.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Valeu, senhora. Deixa eu falar com esse moleque aqui de novo, cara.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Tá bom.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Eu tenho que falar com a enfermeira Fafadinha lá.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies.
Interessante. Perguntas pessoais não tem nenhuma, né? Não.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
Vamos ver que doutor é esse aqui.
Keep anything from her.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Esse cara tem cara de ser vampiro, hein? Tá meio suspeito ele.
What do you think of Dr. Aykroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Aykroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Aykroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
E é o cara,
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does
É
not
o
excuse
carpinteiro
Dr.
que ele tá
Aykroyd's
falando.
behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Interessante.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Vamos ver por que esse cara mentiu.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Tem uma perguntinha pra você.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick, unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
É isso, vamos aproveitar para roubar aqui, já que ninguém tá olhando. É isso, faz frascos de vidro. Ó, tem saída aqui, ó. Marcador personalizado. O que é isso? Esconderijo, né? Meia-noite no Jardim do Bem e do Mal. Interessante. Eu posso ir lá fazer essa missão aí. Eu tenho que interrogar a enfermeira doida, né, cara? O que seria aqui? Seria o quê?
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean? You used to be a doctor. Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Faz sentido.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Ela tá morta, na verdade.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidama.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Uma fórmula enigmática. Esta fórmula escrita em um pedaço de papel parece bem complexa, precisa ser esmiuçada. Ópio, codeína. Eu não tenho dinheiro para comprar, né? Não.
Tomorrow, more bodies will arrive and then sadly depart. I'm managing a train terminal.
Esse aqui é o Dr. Boladão, né?
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
I really hope you're right about this, Dr. Ackroyd. I am trusting your judgment on this.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his responsibilities, Dr. Reed. There is no need for you to be looking over my shoulder.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Interessante. Já peguei mais um indício aqui. Ele não concorda com a pesquisa. Essa ali é a enfermeira principal, né? Enfermeira-chefe. Mas deixa eu confirmar.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening,
Ah,
Doctor.
não.
I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
É essa aqui, ó. Ué?
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
How long have you been a nurse?
Or long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Tem treta com Milton,
Why does
ela, hein?
Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Interessante. Eu achei que ela era...
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Ela era corrupta. Alguém parecido com ela, uma enfermeira parecida com ela. Eu tenho que ir lá fora conversar com as enfermeiras. Eu vou falar com o Milton também. Vamos ver se é essa aqui.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening,
É ela. É ela, ó. Não. Não.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Ó, o cara da ambulância meteu o pé daqui, né? Opa, quem tá aqui?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
É essa. Aqui, ó, essa aqui, pô. Ih, é não? Caraca, tu já tá aqui, mulher.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Cadê o malandro? Vem aqui, volta aqui, bebê.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Interessante.
Goodbye, Milton.
Tem ninguém cuidando dos caras aqui, ó. Todo mundo largado. Aquela ali é a enfermeira doidinha, né? Milton. Ó, desconhecido. Tem uma moça ali, ó. A pipa, a gente já foi na pipa, né? Ó, a Thelma tá aqui. Thomas. Essa moça tá dentro desse quarto.
I cannot enter.
Tá bom, né, doutor? Pipa tá ali. Esse doutor tá aqui. Dorothy Crane.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Não sei, me diz você.
Thank you, Nurse
Não é
Crane.
nada, né? Tá bom, já falei com todo mundo. Vamos... ver se eu acho aqui o caminho. Aqui, ó. É isso. Vamos vir aqui. Opa. Garrafas pequenas.
It's locked.
Está trancado. Entre no jardim do quintal. Não dá para subir por ali.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Achei o cara ali, ó. Calma aí, deixa eu ver ele. Ele só não tem resistência a sangue, né? E o cara é level 6, hein? Tomou, vem, bebê. Vem, bebê. O cara é muito forte, mano. O cara é muito forte, muito forte. Tem mais dois ali, ó. Vamos ver? Mesmo esquema, né? Esse aqui aguenta a porrada. Tá, esse aqui eu vou usar o bagulho nele. Vem, bebê, vem. Eita, caramba. Os que vem, pô. Os que vem. Vem, bebê, vem. Toma uma mordidinha do vampiro. É isso. Ó, fotografia e uma carteira, ó. Interessante. Uma fotografia de um casal com algumas palavras escritas no verso. Milton e Pipa para sempre. Eita, o Milton e a Pipa.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Eu acho que a carteira é do Milton, né? Aqui não tem nada, né? Vamos atrás do Milton. E tem um cara ali, ó. Deixa eu ver como é que ele tá. Ele é imune ao sangue, né? Tá bom. Cara, eu só tô com uma... O que eu tô fazendo aqui? Tem umas portas aqui, ó. Tá bom. Eu só tô com uma munição. Acho que eu vou dar uma mexida no equipe. É isso. Vamos dar uma mexida no equipe. Aqui, ó. Tirar essa, botar essa. Essa aqui tá quantos de munição? 2. Vamos usar a estaca. Tentar achar o Milton. Thomas. Doutor. Janet. Milton tá ali.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway, to remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
Interessante.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Goodbye, Milton.
Tudo bem, Milton. Investigação bem sucedida. Fizemos aí. Agora só falta... Vamos tentar achar a Peppa. Ela tá ali, ó. Calma aí, tem um cartaz de procurado aqui, não tem? Previna doenças, cuspe, tosses e espirros em público propagam a gripe. Ela se espalha pelas gotas de saliva coriza. Evite tossir em público. Olha ela aqui, ó.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes? Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Interessante. Temos mais nada. Deixa eu ver aqui as informações. Qualidade de círculo social, ela tem ele, né? Tá ficando interessante. Fadiga, tá cansado esse cara, ó. Tratamento para fadiga. 30% de perda de qualidade de sangue. Círculo social, a Beatrice Goldwyn. Ah, é o garoto, né? É o garoto e a mãe. Falta 2 pessoas ainda aqui. Podem estar lá em cima. Tá bom, agora vamos examinar esse sangue logo de uma vez por todas, né? Era aqui pra esquerda, não é isso? Segundo andar? Esse seria o segundo andar, né? Tem um terceiro andar, inclusive. Mas eu não vejo rastro de gente aqui. Estão todos ocupados lá em cima. Lá embaixo, perdão. Qual é a ideia aqui? A sala de cirurgia? Ó. Serra usada. 65 de dano. Serra comum. Vamos ver aqui, ó. O meu dano com a arma. 65 de dano também, né? Entendi. Pegamos aqui prontuário de todos. Se quiser dar uma lida aí, ó. Nova pista disponível. Thomas Wood. Esse mistério do Thomas Wood vai ficar... Essa aqui tá com o nosso nome, não tá? Dr. Reed. Acho que é o nosso, hein? Nosso escritório. Esqueci o nome do nosso boneco. No caso do meu personagem. Esse aqui é quem? Doutor quem? Não, acho que a gente é o Reed, né?
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin.
Pelo menos não vou dormir em um caixão, mano. Bem bolado. Pó de alumínio, shellings. 25 shellings, ó, muito bom. Mensagem do Dr. Swan. Deixou uma mensagem aí pra gente aí, quem quiser ler. Dá uma lida. Frasco de vidro. Artigo sobre Econs. Quem quiser ler aí, ó. Dá uma pause, ó. Pausou. Aí chega lá no memorização. Aqui, ó. Pausa, lê. Pausa, lê aí. Tá bom? Tem nada aqui. Onde a gente vai fazer a análise do sangue é aqui, né? Basicamente aqui, ó. Opa! Em uma bancada você pode fabricar tratamentos médicos para curar cidadãos doentes, soro para aprimorar a si mesmo, melhorias de armas para aprimorar e personalizar suas armas. Amostra de sangue do William, vamos analisar. Analisamos. Soro regenerativo fraco, recupera instantaneamente 300 pontos de vida, depois mais 150 pontos em 15 segundos, maneiro. Tratamento para sepsis, para anemia, para fadiga. Eu precisava de algumas coisas. Eu precisava fazer isso aqui para dar o bagulho pro cara. Facão usado não. Eu posso usar essa serra aqui. Na verdade eu tô ocupando isso. Cidade de ataque. Isso aqui é mais rápida, né? Mas eu não tenho os itens.
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night.
Vamos dormir então, velho.
So much time.
Interessante, tá ficando interessante esse jogo brabo aí, hein? Ó, tem bastante coisa agora, ó. Tem mordida, regeneração, ó. Interessante, ó. Vamos usar a regeneração para recuperar sangue, nossa. Mais 10%, ó. Muito bom, vamos usar. Isso aqui é bom. Usar mordida em combate. Interessante, ó. A gente pode aumentar o dano dela também, né, em si. 100% de dano. Vamos botar. Mais 150% de dano. Vamos botar, que a gente quer usar bastante essa mordida. Autofadiga. Essa que é agressiva aqui, ó. Não, né? Corpo a corpo, condição corporal, mais 50 de vida. Interessante botar aqui, ó. Aumenta o vigor aqui, ó, para aumentar nosso vigor. Sangue. Aumenta a capacidade de sangue. Ó, umas coisas muito interessantes. Ciência é o quê? 3 soros. Aumenta a quantidade de balas. Não, eu vou aumentar o meu vigor. Meu vigorzinho. Posso aumentar mais aqui ainda, hein? Muito bom, estamos ficando brabo, hein? Táticas. Muito bacana. Vamos confirmar. Na noite seguinte.
If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Opa, o que a senhora quer, bebê?
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
Sorry. There's nothing here.
Some of the patients won't last the night without them. Honestly, sir, I'm beside myself.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse.
Obrigado, doutora. Entre no antigo necrotério. Tem mais coisas aqui pra cima, né? Pra gente explorar. Caramba. Deu uma olhada sinistra pra ela, ele, né? Vamos subir aqui e ver o que tem aqui em cima. Tá fechado. Clay Cox. Onde esse cara tá, cara? Todo mundo com fadiga. Eu posso ajudar esses caras. Dorothy. Thomas Elliot. Essa é desconhecida. A Pipa tá aqui. Cara, eu acho que eu tenho mais informação daquele camarada ali. A Thelma tá ali fazendo besteira. O carinha que tá sentado, cadê ele? Ó.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Valeu, paizão, obrigado.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Eu acho que eu li a parada dele. Não, pior que não foi dele então
Goodbye for
não.
now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Eu achei uma pista de algum paciente.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Goodbye, Mrs. Gosway.
Good evening, Doctor.
Não quero falar com a senhora não,
Goodbye,
cara.
Mrs. Gosway.
Quero falar com ele.
This This hospital seems to be falling apart.
Good evening, Mr.
But
Goswick.
in the circumstances,
How are you?
I'm okay.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
Interessante. Ainda tá com dor
I
na
have to
garganta
go now,
ainda?
sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
This hospital seems to
Don't
be
waste your
falling
time with
apart.
me.
Calm the children.
But in the
Ellen.
circumstances, I'm willing
As
to
for
give you the
me.
benefit of the doubt.
Os caras estão trabalhando. Aquela ali é a pipa, né? Esse aqui é o doutor doido. Ah, pode ser esse cara aqui, ó. Não, não, não. Não vou deixar ela chupar teu sangue, não.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Ah, aqui, ó.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
Reconstructive surgery has been very successful for some soldiers.
I don't want to wear a bloody mask for the rest of my life. I'd rather stay here, and just be forgotten.
What?
Come on.
I
don't want to...
E o cara ficou chateado, mano.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be, sir.
Tentei ajudar ele, né?
How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be, sir.
Tá bom, a pesquisa... desculpa, a pista que eu peguei era daquele camarada ali, então. Vamos ver se eu entro no antigo necrotério aí. Tem que ser pela porta dos fundos, não é isso? Vamos ver se dá pra eu chegar por aqui. É uma porta pequena. Opa. Acho que é aquela ali, ó. Cartucho de espingarda e balas. Eu já posso equipar a arma de novo, hein? Posso usar ela. Usar ela para o abate Vampyr. O vampiro. O velho necrotério. Escutei um grito bizarro, hein? Tá, a gente aqui tem que vasculhar, né? Pra ver se a gente encontra ingredientes. Nada aqui. Opa, tem sangue, hein? vejo nada. Tem alguém ocultando a presença dele de mim. Frasco de vidro pode ser importante. Esse necrotério aqui deve ter alguma coisa, cara. Deve ter alguma coisa pesadíssima. Será que dá pra eu abrir a porta? Deu para abrir a porta, mas não era o que eu queria fazer no momento. Eu queria destrancar só, galera. Peço perdão aí pela essa demora toda no vídeo. Pelo menos já dá pra entrar, né? Galera, essa porta aqui é a de fecha, né? Interessante. Vamos pesquisar mais, né? Vamos pesquisar mais aqui no necrotério. Ó, tem pra ir ali pra baixo. Não vejo sinal de nada. Vai ter coisa aqui pra descer aqui. Será que eu vou pro sótão? Pelo menos eu não vou pra aquele sótão ferrado, né? Não é normal. Eita caramba, quem tá ali? Ele é resistente a vários bagulhos, menos ao sangue. Vamos usar o sangue então. Vem, bebê. Pegar pra morder. Preciso recuperar meu sangue. É isso.
Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza.
Amostra de sangue roubado. Muito bom. Estojo de cigarros. Ó, peguei uma parada aqui, ó. Quinina. Certo? O que é isso? Ouro. Tem coisa pra cá. Tem coisa pra lá. Vamos dar uma olhada aqui.
It's locked, all right.
Tá trancada. E essa salinha aqui, ó. Isso aqui nem dá vestígio de sinal. Então, galerinha, se vocês estiverem gostando, já deixe seu like, se inscreve aí no canal, compartilha com os amigos, comenta alguma coisa, ative o sininho para não perder a notificação dos próximos episódios, tá? Pegamos cartucho aí de 38, né? Pegamos munição de 38 e cartucho de 12. É daquela escopeta de cano cerrado que a gente tá. Eu vou finalizar esse episódio por aqui, tá, galerinha?
This key will surely grant me access to the basement.
Chave do subsolo. Então é isso aí. Valeu e fui.